Hello, welcome to the fourth episode of Wait, what is my podcast called? I'm sorry. Welcome to the fourth episode of my podcast. I'm grown now. What? My name is Tyree Elaine, and today's topic is womanhood. If you've been following the first three episodes, you'll know my journey in examining the way in which I was brought up and how it has affected the my my certain just certain things that I wasn't really cool with in my adulthood, and I didn't know why when I looked at how I was raised in the environment and as far as like my family and all that type of stuff, I realized, okay, this is probably why. Um, excuse me, I am now going to talk about womanhood. I'm going to be honest. I felt like when I got to be an adult, I never really felt like a woman, if that makes any sense. I always knew how to be an adult. I felt like my mom taught me the basics as far as just, like hygiene and when I got my cycle and just basic doings of an adult, going to work, going to school, and being responsible and stuff. And I understand why. I spoke about this in the very first episode. My mother's mother passed away when she was only 14, so she only knew so much. And let me just reiterate this: I love my mother, and I understand that she did the best that she could. The reason why we don't speak right now is because um I don't expect um, either of us to go back into a time machine and fix anything. The issue is a lack of accountability. If I did something to someone in the past and they bring it up to me, the worst thing that I can do is minimize their feelings just because it was a long time ago or just because they're still alive. It's like, did you die? Like, you're cool. So what? I sacrificed, whatever. It's like my feelings were still valid even as a child. And apparently they're still affecting me as at this adult phase in my life, or yeah, at this adult. I feel like I'm just now getting to know adult me now that I know how to be the type of adult that I want to be. I hope that makes sense. And the reason why we're not communicating is because I feel like there is a lack of respect, obviously a lack of boundary, a lack of respect for my newfound boundaries, and that is why. Not because she didn't do a good job or she didn't do the best job. It's just because the things that I'm trying to change in an effort to grow, uh, she's taking offense to it. I feel so. That's what it is. I just didn't want it to seem like these episodes were about just like bashing my family or anything. I just had to be honest about how I felt because for a long time I couldn't see that these things were anything were was wrong with any of these things because they were my family. Like, well, it's okay because it's my aunt, or it's okay because it's my cousin, or it's okay because it's my mom. When in actuality, none of this shit was okay. Adult me wouldn't have been okay with it. So now here we are, discovering our womanhood, and I'm gonna be real again. I recall things that my mom tried to teach me in regard to, let's say, dating. When I was about 17, she would kind of make a big deal out of boys or guys opening my car door for me, and I just never understood why. Even now, I'll let a guy open my car door, but just subconsciously, I'll be ready to fucking go. So I just want to get in the car, open the car door, and go. But she always made it like a thing. You make sure he opens your car door for you. You make sure he opens your car door for you. But to be honest, I never really knew what to do out on these dates. I would just kind of like go out from time to time. I just knew that he had to open my car door. But to be just completely honest, what my mom told me was not a reflection of what she modeled at all. All the things that she modeled in her relationships were incredibly toxic and incredibly painful for her. You know, guys, I mean, not like a whole bunch of different guys, but a guy, the same like shady preacher from the first two podcasts that I was talking about. He just completely would, I feel like, disrespect my mom. The whole family would be aware of it, but then nobody want to say anything about it because I feel like they didn't want to upset my mom or they didn't want to disrespect the man of God, quote unquote. And so it just was a thing that just happened, and I just did never understood why nobody would fucking say nothing. I never understood that. I was like, and to boot, how are you going to tell me ways in which to have a relationship with a man or a boy or whatever, but you're allowing this man to, like, I see everything that you're doing from when I was like 7, 8, or 9 years old. Like I've seen everything. So I was modeled something different than what I was shown. And then when I got older, I'm thinking, oh, the way to get a man is to do a bunch of shit for him. Because that's what I saw modeled, just to do a bunch of shit for him until he choose you. And then I did that all my 20s until I realized this shit is really painful and it's about to be to a point of no return. And you know, I really feel some type of way. I was really nervous about expressing this because, honestly, a lot of parents, especially black parents, they care more about you telling their business than about taking accountability for things that actually happen. I'm not lying about any of these things. These things happen and they affected me, and what I'm trying to do again is to help other people who this type of thing might be happening to as well, where you just don't realize it because, oh, it's family, or because, oh, well, everybody on the block act like this. It's not okay. I mean, it's okay if you think it's okay, but if you feel like you deserve better or you want more, it is okay to stop a toxic trait. In a family, it could start with you. You ain't gotta wait for nobody older to start it. It could start with you. um Again, I made terrible choices in men because, this is just a side note. I made terrible choices in men also because I didn't have my father growing up. So I felt like I didn't have a guy in my life to tell other guys who wanted to date me, you better not, like Mike Lowry, them from Bad Boys, like, whatever you do to her, I'm gonna do to you, or just, you better take care of her. So I felt kind of sort of like, well, any nigga who I get, I guess I just better be grateful or lucky. And the crazy part is, I didn't even realize that I thought those things. You know how you think something, you have a thought, but you don't think about what you're thinking about. You just know that that's what you're thinking about, and then that thought turns into a thing, and now here we are. That's how it was. I looked up, one day I was in college, and my homeboy at the time, he was telling me, yes, Harry, I don't date women who didn't have their fathers growing up in their lives because they don't know how to respect a man because they didn't have that shown to them in a house. I said, that's what's up. You do know I didn't have my father growing up. Oh no, not you. You different. You different. But I felt so like lacking. I felt like somebody who walked with a limp. Like I didn't have everything I needed in this life in order to thrive or have a 100% successful life. So it's like, well, shit, I'm out here working with a deficiency. And I felt bad that didn't have my dad in my life because I'm like, well, shit, is that a thing? Do guys, good guys, because this guy, in theory, on paper, was a good guy. And he was like, I don't date women who didn't have dads growing up. And I'm like, shit, who else out there thinks like that? Like, and it wasn't shit I could do about it. So that is honestly what made me go on a quest to like figure out, so to speak, just in a vague term, what was wrong with me? Why am I going through this, continuous cycle of foolishness? I allowed, or I used to allow my ex to make me not feel good enough. I mean, he would fuck around with and fuck a bunch of different women, and they were all lighter than me. They were all skinnier than me, like track star skinnier, not just skinny, no, like athletic skinny. They were all they all had longer hair, curlier hair. I remember there was a time he was all in some girl face. We was at a barbecue, he was in some girl face, and what was crazy was I felt like I couldn't say nothing because if I said something, then he would like surely leave me for altogether for this other girl. So what I did was the next day I made an appointment to get a quick weave, like a weave like that was done really really fast, and that shit was so tight and it hurt. But I'm like, at least my hair is longer. It was just an effort to try to get him to choose me. That's all I wanted. Like, choose me, choose me. And it wasn't just with the hair. It was with like, working out extra, like to the point where it didn't even work because I was working out to try to keep somebody in my life who didn't want to stay. Um, you know, I'm just now learning how to, another side note or furthermore, I just learned how to be sexy. I was raised, brought up in the church. You be modest. If you show off your body, you looking for the wrong attention or you're a whore, God ain't gonna bless you, blah, 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 blah. And so I would just kind of sort of try and tie stuff around my waist or, just wear big stuff or, I don't want God to be mad at me or not bless my relationship or not bless me in other areas in my life because, I'm showing off. And I'm like, I'm 33, just now bought my first lingerie set from Fenty. Rihanna had ridiculous 65% off sale. Panties and bras was like $4 and $3. I was like, click, 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 add, and bought a gang of lingerie, and I wear it around the house for myself. Just I'm learning to. I had to learn how to like my body, like and not be a thing of oh, this is a bad thing, or this is, sex equals, bad, or ain't nobody the real one. Ain't no nigga here, so why you got on this lingerie? Like, I'm learning how to just be me for me, enjoy me. And that's literally something that I thought a mom was supposed to teach her daughter. I could be wrong. I mean, it might be too weird. Obviously it's your mom, but these are things that I'm learning about womanhood. My mother did a good job teaching me how to be an adult, but as far as being a woman, I'm learning all that shit right now. And just learning how to tap into my feminine energy. Like, what does my feminine energy look like? Some women have different energy when they enter a room. Again, I can only go off of what I was modeled. I remember my mom's energy to me was always, I mean, when I was like a little kid, I was always like excited to see her, but as I got older, I was always nervous to see her. I spent the majority of my time at school. So then when I would come home, she would come home, and when I heard the car pull up, it was like this angst immediately. What the fuck did I forget to do around the house? Let me get this sock up. And I'm not like a messy person at all by any means, but I would always just be really anxious. Shit, did I forget to take the meat out? Shit, did I? Okay, wait. Okay, but it was never like peace. The energy was never like, oh, okay. I felt like if I was just kind of like chilling, get up and do something or whatever, and that could be, I'm an adult now and I understand, if a grown woman is spending time raising a child by herself, she could have had a bad day at work, but on a regular basis, I feel like she would come home and dump that on me. And I still loved my mom and wanted to be around her, but if I'm being real about the energy, it was never welcoming or inviting ever. So now I have to go off of like, well, okay, well, is that the energy that you want to have when you go out? No. So now I have to be, and I'm not like I don't want to be like a Susie homemaker energy either. So I'm learning how to hone my own like custom made energy, like Tyree energy, like where that this is me and it's welcoming and it's nice, and I'm still working on it. There's things about myself that I'm, changing to try to become a better person or evolve or whatever. But it's like I feel like I have the pleasure of being a woman. There's things I could look at a room, and my mother has this as well. She has great taste in just, oh, a chandelier here and this and that. I'm not to that degree, but I can say, oh, it's warm in here. Can I offer you guys something to drink, or whatever. I'm literally learning how to do all that stuff just now. And you know, I had two aunts, or I have two aunts, Auntie Nadine and Auntie Nikki, and I used to always love going over their houses because I noticed that their houses were always bright, like the windows were always open. They were just they just had this energy, And now, like, I just want to say again, I'm not trying to mimic their energy, but it was like positive. It was peaceful. It was, if I make a mistake, I'm not gonna like get my ass beat or whatever because these is my aunties. Like my mom's really, really good friends at the time. But I just remember the type of energy that I want to have. I have a friend named Janae Thompson. She's every time I see her, and I don't know what the fuck it is. Every time I see Janae, I like my eyes get be like, oh shit, she here. Even if we don't like, we're not gonna get a chance to talk a whole lot. Every time I see her, I get excited. And I remember I thought to myself, I hope when people see me, they get excited too, because there are times when you see somebody and you be like, this bitch here, oh, hey. And it's like because of the energy. And, I know I'm not going to be like that to everybody I meet. Sometimes it just doesn't mesh. I was talking about that on the last podcast. But it made me want to hone in on just the, the softer, feminine, just me. I'm literally learning myself, or, creating myself, I guess, to say. I also got a I also got a couple mentors, or I allowed myself to be open to having a few mentors, and they're older women, and they got their shit together, and they cute, and they be going out, and they be popping, and they're not your typical, they're like in their 50s, but they're not your typical 50 something year old woman. When I was younger, I used to think 50 was just, old and a gray wig and just a cane and shit. Now, like, they be at the bar taking niggas from me. They be 50 doing that shit. So when I'm talking to them, it's like, I don't heavily rely upon them. But when I talk to them, it's like, oh, okay, so you're still evolving. Like, you're 50 something and you have a mentor. So okay, it's just sometimes it's just nice to have guidance. There might be questions about certain things that I might not be aware of, or I'm just like, am I always going to feel like this, or what's going to happen when I turn 40, and will I feel like bad about my body, or blah 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 blah. I just have those people to talk to, and they've been super duper helpful. One example that my auntie Tamara gave me was about life. Like, I just was like, I was over her house one day and I just felt so inundated and so unequipped to deal with life's issues. I just felt like during that time, I just felt like if one issue came, another. If it wasn't something else, it was something else. I was making money, but I was still broke. I'm just like, I don't know how to fucking do this. Every time I fix something, something else come, and I don't know how to do this. When am I gonna be okay? And she was like, you know what? Life is like a puzzle. If you when you learn how to put it together, your first time putting a puzzle together, you put it together and it's great. But then if somebody came over and like destroyed it, or let's say you got to put the puzzles back in the box and then do it again, that doesn't mean that, oh shit, life is over. Like, sometimes, excuse me, things happen, but your your coping skills come from your ability to, let's say, re-put the puzzle back together. So let's say I do a puzzle, I put a puzzle together, and somebody comes and messes it up. At least now I know how to put it back, if that makes any sense. It's like I use each lesson as a learning tool, as opposed to some shit that I'm just terrified of dealing with every time. It's always gonna be some shit, it's always gonna be something, to come at you, but you have to have the confidence to know that you can deal with it. That you yourself, Tyree, or whoever is listening, you are strong enough, just because you're alive and you're here, to deal with whatever life throws at you. It's literally like putting together a puzzle, the same puzzle, a different puzzle. You start with the corners, then you learn that trick, and then it's like you learn this. Oh, this piece goes here. Okay, I remember this last time, and then it becomes something fun where you can enjoy it, as opposed to working, working, working. It's just like, oh, I'm just having fun. And that came from her. And I said, wow, that was like really cool insight. So sometimes when things happen with me that I don't necessarily want to happen, I my default setting, and I'm working on changing this default setting, is some more shit. But then I go, nope, Tyree, you can take it. What's up? Let's put this fucking puzzle together. And grateful for my mentor. But the uh the last thing I want to say before I introduce my very first guest on my podcast is, I recently saw something online about, it was a meme, and it said it said, type in things black moms say. And it was like, you don't have no business because I said so. All these goddamn dishes. Don't ask me for shit. Don't look at shit. Don't touch shit. Fix your face. Don't be embarrassing me in front of these people. All of that. It was funny because we're, culturally, whatever, we all have the same similar experiences. If we have, like, ethnic mothers, but that's all verbal and emotional abuse when you do that to a kid. That kid hears that shit, grows up, and that becomes that child's inner voice at work. You don't have no business. That's why people is scared to go to HR about shit. There are grown people that are nervous and scared about going to HR about shit, because it's like, well, I don't want to upset. It's they hear their parents' voices in their heads. Not blaming the parents, but I'm just saying, something has to stop. We living in a new era of fucking adults that are taking mental health very, very seriously. You know, we living beyond a time of just growing up, getting a job, getting married, buying a house, working till you 60 or 70, and then going on cruises and then you die. No, we're living more in depth, and we have more facets, and our elders don't need to look at that as a, to judge it. I mean, if they gonna judge it, it's like, that's fine, but you still have to respect that this is what we're doing. And so I really, really want to stop passing down this emotional trauma and stop normalizing fucking verbal abuse. My best friend said she was in the store and she heard a lady say to her daughter, "Shut the fuck up, or else you ain't getting shit." just like that. And how many times can we say that we've heard something like that? And we're just like, ooh. And then you just buy your fucking watermelon and well, that sounds so racist, but you just buy I like watermelon, but you basically what I'm saying is you go on about your day. You hear it and you go, ooh, anyway. Because it's so normalized, but that shit is not okay. And if you're doing it, maybe you need to find a better way of expressing your frustrations that's not dumping out on your child, because it's not okay, and it's not okay that it was done to you. If it was done to you, it's not okay for you to continue to pass it down. um I want to start. I don't have any children yet, but I have a friend here. She's here with me today. Her name is Kat Branchman. She has her own podcast called Well, Let's Talk About It. What is it called?
Let's get into
Let's
it.
get
Let's
into
get
it.
into
Shit,
it.
I was there when you came up with the.
You
I don't know why I'm
was.
acting like I forgot what it's called. But and when I say y'all need to listen to that podcast. When I say I was listening to that shit, talking back to the podcast like it was on the phone, I said, "Bitch, what?" I'm listening to the podcast talking about bitch what. But Kat has a daughter.
Yes, I do.
Kat has two children, but she has a daughter. Her daughter is 12.
Yes.
Jada.
Mhm.
And well, welcome, Kat.
Hello, thank you so
I
much for
feel like
having me this evening. Right now.
That's what if you're a podcast host, you're supposed to say, welcome, have a seat, drink some coffee out this mug or whatever. I feel like Coney. Yeah, have a seat, cross your legs and
Enjoy yourself.
give it up for the band or whatever. But Kat's daughter recently cut her hair.
Yeah.
And
Well, no, not recently because
Not.
she cut it the summer she was going to 5th grade. She's now in 6th.
And
Yeah,
that's crazy because I was like, she's
yeah.
still cutting it. I still feel like that's the same haircut
Yeah, the first time. No, man.
from the first time. But
Yeah.
just a little background. Me and Kat
Yeah.
are both from well, we're both from California. Kat is
Yeah.
from Long Beach. I'm from Los Angeles. And I grew up. I don't know if this is like this in every area, but we grew up with you don't just cut your hair.
Oh, no.
What's wrong with you?
No, ma'am.
And furthermore, you for damn sure won't wear it natural. I remember when I
Yeah.
started wearing my hair natural, my auntie, when are you getting it done?
Yeah.
Mind you, after a 2.5 hour session under the dryer to dry
Yeah.
out a twist out,
Yeah.
when am I getting it done? It's
Yeah,
done.
it's
Oh, it's
done.
nappy and da 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 da. And I get that was their time. In my day, and I was just telling Kat this, in our day, you just had 3 nail colors: cappuccino,
Yeah. Cotton
baby
candy.
pink, cotton candy,
Mhm.
and garnet.
Yeah.
And you got one shape, either square, round. And that was for chicks who was
Yeah.
too scared to get square, and round. And that was for the old ladies.
Yeah.
And they had them.
And
they
your
colors-
French tips.
and your
and your
traditional
tips.
classic friend. We didn't have all this expression.
Yeah. There was no freedom.
There was no freedom of expression. You got your fucking hair flat iron and a part down the middle or the
Yeah.
side, and you went to school. And
And
at
the
least
ones
that's
that
how it was.
that were expressing themselves were very weird. We
Yeah,
talked about them.
yeah.
So even now, like so she came to me really quick. She came to me one summer. She said, "I want to cut my hair," and immediately my husband, her dad, was like, "You just want to go swimming. Like, you just want to get your ass in the pool every day, and you don't want to wash that head." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do a test." I just made this up. I said, "You gotta wait 2 weeks before you cut it, and in those 2 weeks, you have to tell everybody in the family." And you have to, fight the big boss at the end. You got to tell grandma.
Her mom.
My mom.
And she
And
had
my
a mom. Yeah.
I got a mom. So
Mhm.
my mom was born in 48. So my mom is like an old school civil rights, lived through all of that. Big mama, very judgmental, holy Christian. Like she told me, if you have sex, you going to hell. Like that's how strict my mom is. So I said, at the end of the 2 weeks, you got to tell grandma. And if you can get through that, cool. And my mom responded with, "Now, why you want to do that? Just wait till I die and cut it off. Don't you cut your hair off. Don't you do that to your..." Made it all about her. That face, that's exactly how I was in the living room listening. I said, "Dang, she fighting the big boss." I'm out of it. That's between you and the big boss.
Close the door.
Yes.
Let me
So
know.
my mom, and my daughter, very mature. Grandmother, she got grandmother. I understand you are entitled to your own opinion. I'm still gonna cut it, and I know you'll love me after it. I'm in there like, that's all it took. And now I will tell you.
And she 12.
She's 12. Well, at the time, she was 10 and a half.
10 and a
11,
half.
something like that.
10
yeah.
and a half with more confidence than my ass
Yeah.
had at 29.
Hell, okay,
That's for sure.
okay, for real. And so we took her, she cut it. And it's on YouTube under Kat Branchman. We did a big chop video. And yeah, and so now, and every couple of weeks, I'd be like, "You ready to grow it back? You ready to grow it back?" And she'd be like, "No. In fact, I'm never growing my hair back in the back or on the sides. Like, I love it." And so little boys would call her names. "You're a boy. You look like a boy." And she would go, "Well, your hair looks like it needs to be cut a little long. Are you a girl?" "Okay, then if you're not a girl, I'm not a boy." I'm like,
And that's wild as fuck to me.
yeah, and she don't cuss, so she said it just like that. Oh, I asked her if she cussed. I was like, "You be cussing at school?"
Hell yeah, mom. You know what the fuck it is.
and I wouldn't be mad. But I needed her to tell me no, and she said no. So as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just like, it's one of them things where I didn't have it from my mom. Like you said, my mom I got the perm story, perm my hair. Somebody left it on too long. I spent the summer being a chicken head.
Damn.
Worst in Long Beach, worst summer ever. And them little, anyway. So I'm like, when she came to me, I'm like, all of those fears came up. Like, girl, I ain't even taught you how to shoot. You can't square up and fight. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they corner you in the hall?
What do when they come
for you? Come on. And that wasn't even her concern. I'm like, wow, what a privileged life, so to speak, that you have so much love and confidence that you can express yourself in a way that we wouldn't dare.
Man, I mean, grown people.
Yeah.
I have friends, who, and I'm my friend. I'm one of them. Where it's like, when I'm 40, I'm gonna cut my hair. I don't know why we had this thing about, then when we're 40, then we won't have to give a fuck about what nobody think about. So we gotta wait till we 40 in order to truly express ourselves. I don't know where that mentality came from, but I have a homegirl, Audrey. She just had a video. She said, "I'm so glad I didn't wait till I was 40 to dread my hair. It was the best decision ever." And I'm just like,
wow.
I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, bitch. Or I feel like I need somebody to push me down the slide, like push me down the slide and not giving a fuck, for real. But I will say this. So Kat's daughter had a picture around Thanksgiving recently of her living her best 12-year-old life with her hair cut and a flower on the side holding. It wasn't a real mimosa,
it was a
but
martini,
a martini.
Yeah.
And the look on her face was just, it was like she wanted to say, "Who gonna check me, boo?"
Yeah.
Who gonna say something?
I was at home
so
looking
happy.
homeless, eating some pizza from DiGiorno. I was like, damn. How the tables have turned.
And what's crazy is when I looked at that, I said, this little girl don't even realize that she has more confidence than probably I had not 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like it stopped.
Yes. So record again. Somebody was calling.
Oh, damn.
And I ignored it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We trying to
edit
know how it is. Yeah. But the thing about it is this, like, I'm grown and she's 12, but she had a look on her face like that I've never had. I for damn sure that happened when I was 12, and I'm just now struggling. Well, not struggling. I'm just now learning how to get it now.
Yeah.
So after I saw that, and I've cut my hair before, but I was like, yeah, nah, and went to the beauty supply and grabbed no shoes or nothing, Jesus. Got all types of bags and bundles and all types of shit, and then it grew back, and it was like, okay, but she wears it as a style.
Yeah, that's her.
And I was thinking to myself, well, I want to try something. Like, I'm thinking to myself, am I allowed to, like, just cut the fucking... Like, Rihanna had some shit where not half of it was shaved, but maybe like a third or a fourth of it was shaved on the side. And then, she did whatever she wanted to do, on the hair side. But when I asked Kat, just straight up, because it's her mama, I was like, girl, you just let her cut her hair? She said, it's just hair. What a way to express. She has to express herself in some way. I said, I want to say, bitch, so do I.
Yeah,
where I'm supposed to? Where's the line?
Yeah.
For me to express. I want to express myself too.
And it
but
goes
I never
for boys
learned.
Too. My son, he has a ducktail. He's been growing since he was 6 months.
His princess lock.
Yes. It's long. And this boy done had dreads about 3-4 times. I'm talking about real locked up because the Killmonger came back in his style.
Oh, yeah.
Then he wanted a mohawk. Now, when he was little, he wanted white people hair. He came home from kindergarten. He said, I want my hair to do this.
Okay, if you listening,
I'm
what
sorry.
she's doing is she's acting like she's moving bangs out of her face, like
and he's moving his head.
A la Zac Efron.
He wanted, yes, that's good. Zac
Aaron
Efron,
Carter.
emo, give me, yes.
Aaron Carter.
And we had explained to him, like, son, that's not your type of hair, but... So what I did was I said, okay, if this is not your type of hair, I'll let you have it for a day. I flat ironed it. I flat ironed his mohawk, and I pushed it forward, and I gave him a bump, and then I combed it with a claw, and your boy was around the house living his best life. Now, his daddy said, you ain't going outside. He ain't going outside with this. My husband said this, y'all better love your damn mama, because your mama she supports y'all, because you better never ask me to do no shit like that.
And that's, it's funny. There's a part of me that's, there's a part of me that's like, because I didn't have that.
Me either.
It was what, how about this? When I used to get my hair done and go to school,
come on.
It was, did they say they liked your hair? And it's like, yes. That was like feeding the flat and curl the press and curl monster.
And it is a
It,
monster.
it was a monster because I felt like I wasn't shit without it.
Yeah.
I can't go out. I literally would cry every time I got my ends trimmed. That is not
Yeah.
fucking normal.
Yeah.
I would end my ends trim, some shit that keeps the hair healthy, because my beauty I felt was in my hair. Take it a step further. I remember when I got where I felt like it was, because I felt like I didn't necessarily, me personally, I didn't have shit else going for me. I have a big ass or whatever, but I didn't have big titties. And I'm like, okay, let me see what I got to work with. Okay, I got this and
Yeah.
this. Okay, I gotta keep them shits spick and span, ship shape, if I want a man,
Yeah.
right? If I want some masculine attention, right? So I remember I had a boyfriend. He played baseball. He was playing in Peoria, Arizona for the first season. And so, like, pro or semi-pro or whatever, low A, double A, triple A type baseball. So I got my hair done for him to come back in town for us to kick it. I mean, Shirley Temple pin curls all over, looked like I was going to prom. This nigga calls me before he could even see me and says, "We gotta talk. I don't think this is working." I said, "What do you mean by it?" I don't understand. So basically, he broke up with me, and and then I went upstairs. I was like catatonic. It was my first real heartbreak. I was like 19 or 18 or 19. It was '05. I remember Bobby Valentino's "Slow Down" was the
I
hit.
remember that.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it was an awful time. Cause I did not know what the fuck to do. But this is what I remember. I remember going upstairs to the house after I got my hair done. My neighbor was like, "Tyree, your hair is so pretty." And I remember going, I said thank you. I wasn't rude, but I remember thinking to myself, what's the point of having pretty hair if I don't have a nigga? Like, I might as well just be. That was my mentality because I didn't have no self confidence. I'm just now able to say I can wear lingerie around my house past the mirror. What's that Cardi B lyric? Every time I pass the mirror, I'll be like, "Bitch," some shit like that. I don't know. Cardi B got some
to that effect.
to something that,
Yeah.
some so forth.
Yeah.
Just about like just seeing yourself and being entertaining to you as opposed
Yeah.
to for everybody else. Like, you can be beautiful for yourself. Like, that's when I realized, like, something's wrong with me. The fact that I thought, what's the point of having Shirley Simple Curls if I don't have a boyfriend? Like, I could have gone out with like a homegirl or whatever, maybe to a bar, got drinks, but I just felt so like, no, there's no point. This is for others.
Yeah.
This is for, God forbid, I just look in the mirror and admire myself. I'm just now
But you
learning
didn't
how
even
to
have
do
to.
those
But you
things.
gotta even in that it was a blank canvas.
Yeah.
There was no type of value
Mhm.
in that position for you.
Yeah.
So even if even with all this happening now, you started painting a long time ago. That canvas was blank. So even if you did look in the mirror, you wouldn't have valued what you saw.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
'cause
known
you were
how to
never
do
taught
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like. As I'm parenting my daughter, like my little heart breaks from the little girl side of me
Same.
sometimes because I'm just like, oh man, what would I have been? I don't think I would be this good of a mom had I grown up amazing.
True.
I really don't because
Yeah.
I'm watching my kids. So you mentioned something. You mentioned the verbal abuse, saying don't ask me for shit, which I said about 5 hours ago in the car to Lance.
That's all right.
No, let me tell
He
you
go-
why though.
you-
My kids are rotten. My kids are full of self-esteem and love. My kids think we have unlimited resources. I cook gourmet from scratch, 3 meals a day. She know I do, y'all. My kids are living this. They just don't know. And so I'm like, what have I done? In my attempt to give them what I didn't have, I've created little monsters.
Damn.
And so my son, he's got a flag football game today. Mom, I want some snacks. You got some cash? I don't have no cash. He comes with me 4 more times to ask for cash. She gonna tell me, did you check your purse good? So with a black woman, you don't even touch our purse, let alone mention the contents of my purse. So I went off a little bit, but it was easy. I'm hungry. Got in the car. Well, fine. You could just take me to McDonald's and get some ice cream then. It set me off. You ain't hungry? You want some ice cream? It set me off. So my husband had to grab my arm. And it brought me back because I'm doing therapy, so I'm into mindfulness. And he said, "Let me talk to him, Kat. Calm down." I just went off because I'm like, "Don't you ask me for shit."
Oh shit. Okay, let me not be screaming.
Sorry. So my point is, I'm like, damn, that is in my vocabulary, but for the different reasons. So
And because that's what you heard. And let me just say this: Kat is the first parent I ever heard say sorry to her children. I ain't never heard no shit like that in my life, except for like Claire Huxtable.
Yeah.
I think did it on season 6, or some shit like that. When she got the change, she was going through the
Oh.
change or something. I don't know, but I had never experienced anybody in my family saying sorry to me
Yeah.
for anything. I never thought my apologies came in the forms of crab legs and
Yeah.
Saucony's,
Mm.
fucking anorak jackets and shit. Like, well, let me just give you this instead. But like, Kat said that she said something to her daughter and then she thought about it and she went back and said, and this was a long time ago, girl. I don't even know if you remember this, but you said that you said something to her and you thought about it. She didn't come to you and say, I didn't like the way you whatever whatever. You thought about it and you said, you know what, let me apologize for the way that I spoke to you. Like maybe you just like yelled at her or something.
Yeah.
But I just was like, you could do that?
Yeah.
I ain't never experienced that. And so I'm just like low key like taking notes for
Yeah.
when I had
Yeah.
children because all I know is so far kind of sort of what not to do.
Yeah.
You
And
know what I
that's
mean?
hard. Yeah.
And not just on some what not to do. My mother again, because it's the last episode for at least this season. I guess I'm gonna do them in fours. But I want to say like my family, they did the best they could with what they knew.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough as an adult to continue to grow and evolve. Because
Yeah.
that's literally all I'm about. Mental and emotional health. We're healthy. We fucking physically fine. We good. Now let's see. We don't have to survive low key anymore. We can thrive now.
Yeah.
Who's ready? No, nobody shit. Okay. Well, all right. And that's, why we are where we are, a lack of accountability.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always down like, I did that. I said that. You know what? I apologize. I'm sorry. I might try to explain something as not to try to, excuse something, but just to explain something. When you see the movie Maleficent, that is the evil queen. But when you see the movie, you understand she wasn't born that way. Some fuck shit happened in her life, and then she turned evil.
Yes.
So it's like it doesn't excuse a behavior, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for excuses. I'm not even looking for it, but in apologies, when I give them, I give an explanation just so I never mean to hurt you, and I know from the bottom of my heart that my family did not mean to hurt me, but in for 30 years they've been hurting me
Yeah.
over and over nonstop. So even when I try to make it seem pretend like it was okay, it just wasn't. And so when I see Kat have it, like she has a husband, they have the boy and the girl, they have their house, and they have game nights. She be playing like games with her kids. She be teaching them about money. Her last name is Branchman. They have the Branchman Bank. She be teaching them, put this in your accounts and just cute shit like that. Like I said, she cooks. My mom cooked as well for me, but she cooks like every day for her family, and it's just like I don't like. I'm so grateful that I have a friend. My other best friend, she does all of that, a lot of that stuff too. Yeah, both of them actually cook. That's a goddamn shame. That I, that I damn near ordered an easy bake oven off of Amazon.
Hey.
I'm like, maybe I should start from here and then go to the real
Yeah.
regular people oven. But I mean, I have these friends who they're parenting their children in a different way than
Yeah.
what I saw. And what's crazy is they were raised like me, very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
So it gives me hope,
Yeah.
So get you a cat, get you a
Yeah.
friend that because a lot of times when we focus on what we don't want to do, we
Right.
end up doing that shit. It's like saying, don't
Yeah.
be a pink elephant, don't be a pink elephant,
Yeah.
don't be a pink elephant. Well, if you focusing on what not to do, sometimes you
Yeah.
focusing on what not to do so much that you
do
end
it.
up doing it.
Can I give a piece of advice?
Yes,
for 'em?
yes, yes, yes.
So I would say if you're a parent or you want to be a parent, one of the things where I started at, I got pregnant early too. I had my daughter at 20, so I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. Me and my husband were super young. Focus on you just saying, how would I want my mom or dad to treat me? Like not from, well, this is what happened, I'm gonna do the exact opposite. Because sometimes you create, the wrong extreme on the other end. So like, let's just say, like my daughter, one of the things I had to apologize today for, I like to call her thickums, because she like wants to art and do and draw. She don't want to do any basketball. So she said, okay, mom, I'm running track now, but we have to make an agreement. You can't call me thickums no more. And I thought about it like, you know what? I used to be 300 pounds. I've lost over 100. I lost weight. And I know damn well I wouldn't want nobody teasing me like that, even if it was kind of funny. So I was like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I did think that was funny. And I'm just like, all you had to do is put yourself there, remember how your ass felt, and then remember they don't have a voice. So just
Mm-hmm.
parent from a spot of, like you said, don't say what I don't want to do. How
Mm-hmm.
would you want to be treated? It's like more positive.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yes, a positive reinforcement as opposed to Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
a good example because I feel like, and we were talking about this earlier, I feel like the way that we were parented was more from an ego
Mm.
standpoint where we were involved. And I don't know about everybody else, but I'm just now realizing, just after therapy and all this other stuff, I was in a competition that I didn't even want to
Yep.
sign up for.
Yes.
Where I'm just like, I just want a mom. I'm not like, this not a fucking race. If I win, we all win. But
Yeah.
now none of them get to come. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a bittersweet thing just because I don't ever want to be in competition with nobody. It's room for everybody to grow.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is literally room for everybody because there's only one Tyree. I mean, there's
Yeah.
several Tyrees, but it's only one Tyree Elaine.
Yes.
Well, it's actually a few other. I got two Facebook
Really?
friends. Yeah, names I seen
Oh,
my name. I
okay.
said I'm gonna just request them because
Well,
they.
from South Central though.
Yeah, yeah,
There we go.
that's for damn
There we
sure.
go.
From South End, it ain't but one. It's not but one me. It ain't but
Yeah.
one you. It ain't but one you. It ain't but one you.
Yeah.
Somebody yesterday was like, um, why don't you have a Netflix special like Tiffany? And some shit like that would have set me clean off a few years
Okay.
ago. Why don't I have what another black female from LA has? I get I
Yeah.
get the thought process, the logic behind that question, but that's because she's Tiffany and she's great, and I'm Tyree and I'm great, and the world is still gonna turn.
There you
There's
go.
no competition.
Yeah.
Even though we have similar backgrounds or similar even appearances or whatever, it's still only one me. Can't nobody do
Yeah.
Tyree Elaine like Tyree Elaine,
Yeah.
period. Can't nobody do Cat Branchman like Cat Branchman. There's no stealing of the sauce.
Yes.
Everybody got their own fucking, you go to the bread aisle, all this fucking
Yeah.
different types of
Yeah.
breads. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's in competition. You just put out your best and the people will come.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I'm growing up in this environment,
Yeah.
and then I go back to, I'm in therapy, and then I'm going back in thought now that I'm not speaking to them, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember when I first moved out on my own, my aunt was like, why are you moving out? Why don't you just save your money and stay with your mom? And I'm like, because I'm fucking grown.
Yeah.
I never understood she never moved out.
Yeah. And you know what else? I
And
think
so I'm like, oh, was this a competition that and I
you
hope
didn't
that's not
know.
what it was, but everybody seemed to think, bitch, how can you not see that that's exactly what it was? And it's because I didn't want that. It's like, I don't want this to be, you know how you don't want something to be, but it just is,
Yeah.
and like just as far as like the parental like not apologizing and because I said so and that whole mentality, it's an ego thing. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the same thing with mothers with sons. I don't see it necessarily as often with mothers with sons. I see it way more often mothers with daughters. And
But I think your mom, like, I would say this. I think you stopped needing her. You stopped
but
needing her as you grew up.
and that's normal, is it not?
It's normal, but if you're somebody who's who's validated by
Being
what
needed.
which is why they probably was like, you want to live with me? Like the strings kept getting cut the older you got, and so
Yeah.
it's like I don't really need you as I can tie my shoes and cook breakfast. I have my own group of friends. You just got more and more separated from them, and I think for some people that know how to process that, they got nervous.
Yeah, but I mean, well, my mom didn't really have a big problem with me moving out. It was my aunt, because my mom has had her
Oh.
own places before. It was my aunt, my cousin, like they've never had. But that's who was crazy is I so looked up to them. And I don't fuck with none of them. No, like, and probably, I mean, like, we had a conversation, like, what if years? I'm like, years, when I'm too tired to be looking for or whatever, then yeah. And when I say whatever, I mean in a apology type whatever.
Yeah.
And when I say whatever, I mean an apology type phrase, like the type of apology that I'm looking for. Maybe years will pass, but like for now, as far as I'm concerned, like we'll never speak again. And these people, I looked up to them, and to think that they were looking at me like a competition, it's unfathomable. It took several conversations for me to go, really? That's really what this was? That's really what this was? Meanwhile, here I am just trying to make y'all proud, just trying to make y'all
Yeah.
fucking like me. Because I feel like I could never do nothing good enough for y'all to just shut the fuck up about something wrong that I'm doing. So you could just say, that's what's up, and not find some fuck shit to say.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly like how I would feel sometimes. Like, shit, I thought this was a good job, but there's something wrong. Once again, well, let me fix it, whatever, whatever. And so now I have this freedom and just this love and this life and this happiness. And to think all of that because of an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know we're all human. We have some ego to some degree, but I think sometimes parents think that having an ego makes them a good parent. because
Yeah.
I'm instilling discipline in my
Right.
child, and I'm doing this, and I'm, even worrying.
Yeah.
My aunt, she told me that she was talking to someone about, like, when I refer to an aunt that I'm in communication with, I'm speaking about when I'm in communication with. So, my aunt recently told me she has 2 kids, and they just be traveling, and they'll jet set, hop a plane. Like, for me, my grown ass ain't never flown overseas, and I just flew out of the country for the first time last year, and that was for work. And then again this year, that was for work. Like, I'm never just, like, her kids just be like, I'm just gonna go to Costa Rica, and they just get on a fucking plane and go to Costa Rica, and I'm like, and they're younger than me, and for my cousin, for me to think that my older cousins and my aunts would look at me like, ugh, or who you think you are, whatever, it's just like, why? Because I'm looking at my younger cousins and am inspired.
Right.
I'm like, so did you have to get shots? You didn't? Cool. Okay. Well, that's one less thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So how did you, read the languages out there? Oh, there's an app, and da 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 da. And you just stayed at Airbnb, or you can do a hotel. They have the Monday through. Like, I'm learning. I'm not in competition. You got something I want. I'm gonna ask you how you got it.
But you see it for
And
yourself. That's
yeah,
why they don't see what you have for themselves.
yeah,
So
and
that's intimidating.
it's still kind of like baffling. Even with this, podcast. I mean, by the time this airs, the first 3 have already come out, and we will know whatever
Yeah,
is gonna
baby.
happen is gonna happen. But the thing is, like, I'm still like processing this because it's been a year, and I thought things would be better, and things have gotten worse. So I can only expect, okay, well, a complete and utter cutoff. And, now it's just, I'm left with, what do I have left to rebuild a family? Not rebuild, but to build my
Yeah,
own type
yeah.
of family. And I have my friend Cash. She
Yeah.
got kids. She has a beautiful family. She spends time with them. They have, it's a nice family. And I can just look and go, okay, so that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect, but you can, do these things to try to alleviate a
Yeah.
certain situation, or, have a family talk or a family meeting or whatever. I don't know if I talked about this on the last episode, but I remember my grandmother I think I did talk about this. My grandmother had a family meeting. That was the last time we ever had a family meeting. And I think I started getting depressed around the holidays after, I'm sure I got depressed around the holidays after they passed, because that was the last person who I feel like gave a fuck about each individual in the family, as opposed to keeping the family together.
Yeah.
And
That's a difference.
not offending nobody. It's like, yo, what's wrong with you? Let's try to figure it out. I don't know if I told you, Kat, I'll just repeat it, but my grandmother had, I guess my older cousin, she had a teenage angst, just an attitude about something. And my grandmother called a family meeting. And I remember we did not live over there. Me and my mom, we got in the car, we went over there, and I just remember feeling like, oh, I belong to a family.
Yeah.
Even though this has nothing to do with me. Like, and I was so young. And my cousin, I remember she was sitting there, she had an attitude, and my grandmother said, what's wrong with you? She said, I don't want to be a part of this family. And I asked her if she remembered that a year ago. She said she didn't, but
Wow.
I remember this vividly. And she said, I just don't want to be a part of this family. I feel like, I get picked on or whatever. And then my aunt, her mom said, that's not true. I work so hard for you. Da-da-da-da. And my grandmother said, shut the fuck up.
Oh.
And let her express herself.
Wow. That stuck with you.
And I was like, I remember just looking like, oh,
Yeah.
a kid could talk.
Mm.
A kid could, you know what I mean? A kid could be.
Yeah.
So then when she died,
Yeah.
we stuck with
Your
the
voice
one
died
who
with her.
wanna compete with how tired. I would go, I'm tired. You ain't tired. You ain't got no kids. I'm tired. And it becomes a tired competition. With my other cousin, she has one baby. She would complain about, being tired. It's just her first fucking baby. I'm tired. I had to do it with 2 kids. That's who's in charge. And to be honest with you, and I can honestly say it, I feel like that's the reason why the family is fucked up. Because it's all come to a head of who's low key in charge. Who do we all kind of sort of do things that we don't want to do for in an effort to not upset this person.
Yeah.
Or to get this person to like us. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now here we are.
Yeah.
What's funny is, in this whole shit, it's not funny, it's just more so ironic. That person didn't do nothing directly to me in this situation.
Well, look at that.
It's just I'm looking back now that we're not talking, and I'm looking back
and
going,
you putting it together.
It all came from this.
The top. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what's done is done. all I can do now is, be grateful for the
Yeah.
friends that I have and the people in my life who are pouring into me positively. And, I'm learning self love so that when I love me first and then whatever love comes out after that,
Right.
I'm not tired or resentful and I did this for you. And it's like, I'm always going to be good.
Yeah.
So I'll never need anything from you. If you want to get something to me, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I'm always going to be good. That's the mindset I have. And so anything that comes after that is like,
It's extra.
it's really given out of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not now. Let me tell you something
Yeah.
about my money, or let me tell you something about
And
this.
even me and
It's
mine, like we're building too. Like recently we found out my aunt sold our land. Our
out of
grandparents
town.
left. Yeah, we had acres in North Carolina.
Okay.
She sold it, and she didn't tell anybody. And
Oh,
everybody, it's 20 of them, mind you. My mom was number 19 of 20, and she sold the land. She scammed us low key.
what number is she? One.
She's
She's the
number
oldest.
no, oh no, the oldest is
So
dead.
in order
Look,
to,
look, no, she's number. I think
oh,
she's about number 15.
is she the oldest
Um,
that's living?
no,
Oh, okay. Because
no,
I was gonna be like,
but
what
she's the
made her?
wealthiest that's living.
Okay, because I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out what would make
Yeah.
her think she could.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's the
gotcha.
wealthiest that's living. And I just told, so all my aunts and cousins are mad. I told my husband, I was like, it's just us four. I said, Tyree, my friend Leilani, like, we're building our family. Like,
Yeah,
these are your aunts, these are your uncles. We just got to create our own legacy.
yeah,
And that's okay. I think a lot of people out there need to know, hey, this is a thing. Don't be all bitter and depressed over the holidays thinking I don't have a family. Just start,
yeah.
put them together. Who you like.
Who your friends?
Yeah.
Make some fucking tacos. Go
Come
get you a
on.
deck of cards. Go get you some Uno from Amazon or whatever. And Taboo, if
Yes, come on now.
if you're calm enough to
I
do
don't know
Taboo.
now.
Some people treat it like it's spades.
Right.
Someone fucking tying across the street.
Yeah, man. Make
Like,
your family.
stop making that fucking noise with your mouth and use the buzzer. But yeah, like get you some games, get you, some food, and it
Yeah.
ain't gotta be what grandma had, but you could start somewhere. Trust
Yeah.
me, because I was looking for somebody. I am the youngest adult, and I'm looking like who's gonna have some fucking sense. Nobody. I feel like none of them have any sense.
You.
And I'm like me, and it's just
You the
nobody
hope.
wants to have any because the things that are just done, it just didn't make any sense to me. But because it's 5 of them or 6 of them or whatever, and one of me, of course I'm gonna look like the stupid one, whatever. And it's so funny. My aunt Nadine, she heard I record some of the podcasts before they're aired on my phone, and I sent her episode 2, and she said, you talked about how they called you stupid a lot and, said stupid all the time. I want you to try just for a day not to say stupid. I said, fucking piece of cake. Girl,
What
I got on that
happened?
101. Everybody was a stupid
Oh,
bitch.
yeah,
My stupid
absolutely.
ass left. I should have left yesterday. I said, you know what? Let me try about an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, she saw a problem and said, hey, why don't you, she came with a solution, just sense. Hey, why don't you try this? Just sense.
Yeah.
As opposed to, why you don't just ask Steve Harvey to give you a job? You was on Apollo with him.
Oh.
And they don't, and I understand that comes from a place of not knowing whatever, but it just,
Yeah.
it's like,
Okay.
okay. After 30 years, I done ran out of give a fuck
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
But I do, care, and I, I do want to end this by saying, I love everybody. Just because we are not in a relationship does not mean that there is not love there, but things were done.
Yeah.
And, if there's no accountability, that tells me that you bound to do that shit again in the future, and I cannot have that. So, I have to be the parent to myself that I wish I had, and, I do appreciate what my mother was able to do for me. Although, we can't communicate because at this time in my life in going forward, I have a respect boundary. And if you can't speak to me with respect, you don't get to speak to me, period. So, this is why we're in this situation. But I do have love for everybody. I love my friend Kat. I
Love you
love,
too.
my friend Kenya. Hopefully she'll get her own podcast soon as well. Please listen to Kat's podcast. What is it called, honey?
Found on YouTube called Let's Get Into It.
It's not on SoundCloud yet?
Yes, it will be.
Okay.
It will be. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
by
yeah,
the time this comes
yeah.
out, it definitely
Yeah.
will be.
And iTunes.
In
yeah.
iTunes as
Mhm.
well. Where can the people find you, Kat? I always wanted to say
Yeah,
that.
thank you, girl. Okay, my IG handle is Kat, K-A-T Branchman, Branchman. You'll see a nice lady with this pretty little afro and a purple shirt. That's me, child.
That's her.
That's me.
And that's on all social media sites.
All of them.
On all platforms.
Yes.
I just realized I ain't never dropped my none of my social media handles.
Need you to
I'm
drop
Tyree Elaine.
Hey.
I'm at Tyree Elaine on all social media sites. I probably should have said that episode 1, but it was incredibly
Yeah.
heavy.
It was heavy.
Topic 1 and 2, and then
Thick.
now it's a little bit lighter. But I'm grateful that you guys listened. If you listened to all of them, and Thank you so much again for listening. I'm going to see how these do and then perhaps come back and do some more. But the whole purpose of this, again, was to help somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want you just cutting off motherfuckers just because they do something you don't like. Try to have a conversation. Now, if they can't have a respectful conversation, don't be afraid to hit the cut button.
Okay.
It is okay for you to go out and enjoy your life, to better yourself, to go
Yeah.
out and get new aunties and and maybe incorporate them with biological aunties. It's okay to live your life and be happy. You deserve to be happy. If nobody has ever told you that, you deserve to be happy and healthy, and healthy in all aspects, not just the activity of your limbs. Just you're a happy person. You deserve that. Okay, you don't have to work hard. You don't have to do shit either. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming
Thank you for
again,
having
Kat.
me.
And hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Thank you again for listening.